I called Isiah Thomas and I said, I'm so sorry from the bottom of my heart. I have to call for you to be fired. You have to go. I said, it's just too bad. You got too much going on.
Stephen A. Smith never bites his tongue, and this time he unloaded everything on Isiah Thomas. The ESPN star straight up put Thomas's money problems on blast, saying he's gone broke, bankrupt, and buried under bad decisions.
Some people just ain't meant for official positions because there are politics that come with it and pressure that comes with that. And that is what Isiah Thomas didn't handle well, because Isiah Thomas, Molly, and Perk had a lot of personal stuff that's nobody's business that was going on, and it's not the stuff that was reported and stuff like that. Had a lot of personal issues.
Stephen A. even admitted, your personal business is your personal business, but made it clear this situation is beyond ugly, especially with a misconduct lawsuit still hanging over Isiah's head. And that's just the start. According to Stephen A. Smith, this whole mess didn't come out of nowhere. He framed it as a long-term collapse, one built on ego, bad leadership, and burned bridges. In Stephen's words, Isiah Thomas's fall looks so bad that he joked Thomas might need to start looking for the nearest homeless shelter, which sent shockwaves across sports media.
And it's a damn shame that every time I turn around and look at the New York Knicks, y'all run around organizationally, not the players. I'm talking about management. You run around like a bunch of wusses, scared of your own damn shadow.
Stephen A. then rewound the clock and dragged everyone back to one infamous chapter, the Continental Basketball Association disaster. He said he was personally involved back in 2006, even recalling a private phone call where he went straight for Isiah's neck. Stephen didn't sugarcoat a thing. He laid it out bluntly. Isiah, you bankrupted the CBA, fired every coach, turned down $11 million from David Stern because you wanted more, dumped it in a blind trust, and ran to Indiana, Stephen snapped. He reminded everyone that the CBA was the NBA's official farm system for 2 decades, and Isiah destroyed it in just 18 months. Players weren't getting paid, owners were suing, and chaos was everywhere.
Brown, it's not so much that he's underrated. It's that he's just not liked because of his, quote, I am better than you attitude. He knows it. It's the same reason he is not as marketable as he should be. That's what an NBA source just sent me.
Stephen questioned how that disaster was any different from the executive mess Isiah was facing now. Back in 1999, Isiah Thomas bought the 55-year-old CBA for roughly $9 to $10 million, pitching owners a flashy vision. He promised NBA partnerships, national TV exposure, and expansion beyond 20 teams. His celebrity status and NBA connections had owners believing they were about to strike gold. Former CBA Commissioner Gary Hunter later said the early days were filled with hope, but that optimism faded fast. Once Isiah took over, the cuts started immediately. Weekly player pay was slashed from $1,500 to $1,100, draining the talent that made the league valuable. The big promises never showed up. No national TV deals, no sponsors, no NBA crossover magic.
If you are Isiah Thomas, we all know where this is going. His 2 years as the coach of the New York Knicks was horrible. Because it was horrible, because he only won 34% of his games, and the way things ended in New York City, people are going to use that as an excuse to excoriate him and act like he has no business being associated with the game of basketball.
Meanwhile, the league was bleeding cash nonstop. Teams missed payroll, players went unpaid for months, and lawsuits stacked up like unpaid bills. One of the wildest details came from day one of Isiah's ownership. He fired every single head coach in the league. Former CBA coach Bruce DeLeo recalled, the day after the purchase announcement, he went to the press and fired every head coach in the league. Pure madness. These weren't rookies. These were veterans who built the CBA's reputation as the NBA's top development path. Then came the final blow. The NBA offered Isiah $11 million plus profit sharing to fold the CBA into a new developmental league. Instead of taking the deal, Isiah demanded $15 to $20 million. The NBA walked away. They launched the NBDL on their own, cut off the CBA's $2 million annual subsidy, and wiped out its talent pipeline overnight. Stephen A. lost it over this move during his 2017 podcast rant.
Anywhere, anytime, publicly. Don't call me behind the scenes apologizing or asking your friends to apologize, right? You got on national television and you called me an asshole. And then you said you hated me. You said that on national television. Now, if you didn't mean it, get on national television
You say that.
and apologize for it. Now, if you meant it, let it ride as it is.
He blamed pure ego. He swoops in, talking like a savior, selling a dream, Stephen said. But 18 months later, it's bankruptcy, salary cuts, fired coaches, and rejected lifelines because $11 million wasn't enough. That was code for, "I'm done, good luck cleaning this up." A 55-year institution went straight into the ground. Players were bouncing, owners were dragged into court over guarantees, and the whole thing collapsed under Isiah Thomas's watch. If that's not failure, what is? The blind trust move was the final nail in the coffin. When Thomas took the Indiana Pacers coaching job in October 2000, NBA rules forced him to place the CBA into a blind trust. That stripped away all real control and transparency right when the bills were stacking up. No one could access financial records, no one could make key decisions, and everything froze at the worst possible moment. Teams started defaulting left and right. By February 2001, the league filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. More than $300,000 in unpaid debts were left behind. The lacrosse Bobcats alone claimed Thomas owed them $300,000 in guarantees.
Michael Jordan doesn't give a damn. He doesn't care if he ever speaks to Isiah Thomas in life again. He's not fond of him. Period.
A 55-year-old league was wiped out because of pure mismanagement, and Stephen A. Smith never let that slide. From that point on, Smith stayed on Isiah's neck. Every move Thomas made got watched, questioned, and criticized. That heat followed him straight into his New York Knicks era, and that's where things turned personal. As a hardcore Knicks fan, Stephen A. took Thomas's front office disasters as a personal insult. Between 2003 and 2008, Isiah turned the Knicks into a punchline, a 96 to 140 record while running the highest payroll in the league. That's nasty work. The Stephon Marbury trade in January 2004 summed it all up. Thomas shipped out Antonio McDyess, Howard Isley, and 2 future picks, then handed Marbury a 4-year, $77 million extension. Sure, Marbury brought scoring, but he also brought a ball-dominant style that clashed with teammates and wrecked chemistry. It was another flashy move with no long-term thinking. Even years later, up through 2022, Stephen A. kept calling out the damage. He never stopped reminding fans how deep Isiah dug the hole. The financial fallout was brutal. $77 million for Marbury, $60 million for Eddie Curry with a no-trade clause, $30 million for Jerome James after one decent playoff run. James played just 44 games, averaging 3.3 points. The Knicks ended up buried under $183 million in luxury tax penalties. By 2010, the Larry Brown mess sealed the narrative. Thomas hired the Hall of Fame coach in 2005 on a 5-year, $40 million deal. Brown's motion offense instantly clashed with Marbury's isolation-heavy game. Public criticism followed, and after a 23-59 season, Thomas fired Brown and refused to pay the rest of his contract. Another lawsuit, more chaos. Stephen A. later wrote it plain and raw. Isiah's Knicks era was disgusting, he said. As a fan, it wounded me. He bankrupted the spirit of the franchise with ego, trades, and scandals. Then came the $11.5 million harassment settlement, as if it couldn't get worse. And it didn't stop there. When rumors popped up in 2023 about Isiah Thomas advising Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia, Stephen A. went in full warning mode. Even after denials, Smith kept sounding the alarm. By June 2025, Bill Simmons even suggested Thomas could still have influence behind the scenes. Same patterns, same red flags, same chaos. Stephen A. said it straight like this: if you're Matt Ishbia, you gotta look in the mirror and ask yourself, wait, why is Isiah Thomas standing right behind me? Smith joked that Isiah didn't even officially work there, yet somehow moved like a secret consigliere. He said we're all pretending he's not around, hinting there were real stories behind the scenes. That alone raised eyebrows everywhere. And that's just scratching the surface. Beyond the CBA meltdown, Isiah Thomas has been tied to multiple controversies that cost organizations millions and permanently stained his reputation. His long-running feud with Stephen A. Smith didn't come from nowhere. It was built on years of scandals, lawsuits, and questionable leadership. The most damaging episode was the harassment lawsuit at Madison Square Garden. Anucha Brown Sanders, the Knicks senior vice president of marketing, sued Isiah Thomas and MSG, accusing them of fostering a hostile work environment. What followed became one of the ugliest courtroom sagas in NBA history. During the 3-week federal trial in Manhattan, testimony painted a disturbing picture. Sanders described repeated verbal abuse, saying Isiah allegedly called her degrading names and made unwanted advances. She detailed explosive outbursts, claiming Thomas screamed profanities at her in elevators, especially after losses. The courtroom went silent more than once. Things got even worse when players testified. Stephon Marbury admitted under oath that he used a racial slur towards Sanders. Then Thomas made matters worse by suggesting that kind of language was less offensive among black colleagues. That statement alone detonated a media firestorm across sports and news outlets. The jury didn't hesitate. Sanders was awarded $11.6 million, including $6 million for harassment and $5.6 million for retaliation. MSG later settled for $11.5 million to avoid appeals, but the damage didn't stop with the check. Legal fees stacked up fast, and Thomas walked away with a reported $12 million severance despite being fired for cause. Even worse, the trial exposed a culture at Madison Square Garden that shocked fans and NBA insiders alike.
The Jordan controversy traces back to that infamous 1991 Eastern Conference Finals moment, when the Pistons walked off the court without shaking hands after getting swept by the Bulls. It became a permanent stain in NBA history. That image got replayed for decades as the ultimate sign of bad sportsmanship. Isiah Thomas has always pushed back, saying the outrage ignored how brutal, physical, and emotionally draining that rivalry really was. But after all the financial chaos and non-stop public beefs, the bigger mystery is this: how did it all fall apart so badly for Isiah Thomas? This is the same guy who climbed out of grinding poverty on Chicago's West Side and built a business empire once valued near $100 million. A real rise from nothing story that almost sounds unreal. Isiah Thomas was born April 30th, 1961, the youngest of 9 kids in one of Chicago's roughest neighborhoods. His father, Isiah Thomas II, was an Army veteran wounded in World War II and later became the first black supervisor at International Harvester. But when the plant shut down in the late 1960s, everything collapsed. Depression hit, and he walked away from the family. Isiah was only 3 years old when that abandonment shattered their world. His mother, Mary Thomas, raised 9 kids alone in a cramped 3-bedroom house with no heat. Some nights, kids slept on the floor or even on an ironing board. Hunger was a constant. Thomas later recalled scavenging for food scraps, digging through fast food wrappers, and searching the streets for loose change just to eat. The neighborhood was flooded with gang violence and drugs, trapping most kids with no way out. Basketball became Isiah's escape. His older brothers introduced him to the game at a small neighborhood park. His brother Gregory, who played college ball, spotted Isiah's elite court vision and non-stop competitive fire early. The family scraped together whatever money they could for camps and travel teams. They saw Isiah's talent as their one shot at a better life. At St. Joseph High School in Westchester, Illinois, Thomas exploded. As a junior, he led the team to the state finals, averaging 28 points and 12 assists per game. College recruiters packed into the family's tiny apartment, offering scholarships that looked like life-changing wealth. His mother made one rule: education mattered as much as basketball. That decision sent Isiah to Indiana University. Under legendary coach Bob Knight, he thrived despite the brutal discipline and military-style pressure. Thomas earned a criminal justice degree in 1987 while already playing professionally, grinding through coursework during NBA off-seasons. Knight's obsession with fundamentals and mental toughness matched Isiah's mindset perfectly. Years later, Thomas earned a master's degree in education from UC Berkeley in 2013, focusing on sports education and access to higher education for Black male athletes. That move showed his desire to understand the system and reshape it for future players. On the court, his 13-year NBA career with Detroit was legendary. Drafted second overall in 1981, Thomas transformed a struggling franchise into the Bad Boys dynasty. Back-to-back championships in 1989 and 1990, Finals MVP in 1990, 12 All-Star selections, career averages of 19.2 points and 9.3 assists across 979 games. That bruising Piston style wasn't just chaos, it was calculated. The so-called Jordan rules were strategic basketball, built to slow down superior athletes through positioning, teamwork, and controlled physicality, and Isiah Thomas was the mastermind pulling every string. That cannabis venture says a lot about where Isiah Thomas's head is at these days. He's tied it directly to social justice and economic empowerment, pushing the idea that communities hit hardest by old drug laws should actually benefit from legalization. Thomas has spoken openly about creating real opportunities for formerly incarcerated people, not just corporate profits. That advocacy has boosted his image in spaces far beyond basketball and business. On top of that, Thomas made another major move in luxury goods. He became the exclusive U.S. importer of Charlie Champagne, which landed a huge look when it became the NBA's official bubbly in 2016. The brand debuted at the Democratic National Convention and leaned fully into Thomas's NBA connections and celebrity pull. It was aimed straight at wealthy consumers chasing premium experiences. That champagne play didn't stop stateside. Thomas expanded the brand internationally, locking down distribution deals across multiple countries. His marketing angle was slick, heavy emphasis on French roots mixed with basketball culture, championships, and celebration vibes. That combo helped the brand stand out in a crowded, cutthroat spirits market. Off the business grind, Thomas lives in Los Angeles with his wife, Lynn, and his priorities look different now. After decades of chaos, lawsuits, and public beefs, he's focused on stability and family first. He's been open about realizing that money and titles don't mean much without strong relationships. He still stayed visible, though. Thomas has popped up in various media projects, including guest appearances on shows like Home Improvement and Due South. Those appearances keep his name buzzing while adding extra income streams without dragging him back into front office drama. Despite all the controversy tied to his executive years, Thomas has reshaped himself into a mentor and businessman who moves quieter but smarter. He told The Athletic in 2024, "If I'm only remembered for basketball, I failed at life," and that line hit hard. Today, his portfolio runs deep. Real estate development, environmental services, cannabis, luxury goods, sports media. That range shows business instincts his critics love to ignore. Love him or hate him, Isiah Thomas didn't disappear. He reinvented himself and kept it pushing.